The skies crack open as a rare alignment of the Sun and Uranus jolts the zodiac. A cosmic thunderclap that shakes Leo's very core. You'll never be more than a background character. Sneers a rival sign, their words slicing deeper than they realize. But instead of collapsing under the insult, Leo's eyes blaze with an untamed fire, as if the universe itself just flipped a hidden switch inside them. This is Leo, the lion, the flame bearer, the eternal symbol of courage and sovereignty stretching back to ancient kings and queens. For years, Leo has sacrificed sleep, comfort, and even love in the pursuit of recognition that always seemed to slip into someone else's hands. Family and friends smile in support, yet beneath those smiles lies tension, envy, and the silent question, when will Leo finally rise? Maybe it's just not your time, whispers a doubtful Virgo, igniting the spark of rebellion in Leo's heart. Before we go further, drop a comment below and tell me where in the world you're watching from. I want to know where the pride of lions is gathering tonight. And if you've ever fought battles for respect that others took for granted. Subscribe now, because here, your struggle and your triumph are shared. Stay with me until the end, because what I'm about to reveal is not just a horoscope, it's a prophecy of dramatic change written in the stars for you. Leo, Part 1: The Frustration of the Lion in Chains. Leo, let me sit beside you for a moment, as though we were old friends sharing a quiet evening after a long, exhausting day. I know the feeling that's been gnawing at you. You've watched people who don't shine half as brightly walk into opportunities that should have been yours. You've given your best, worked late, sacrificed comfort, poured your creativity into ideas that spark like wildfire, only to see someone else take credit. It isn't just disappointment, it's a weight that presses on your chest, leaving you wondering if the universe has forgotten you. I'll be honest with you, every Leo I've met carries this same hidden scar. Outwardly, you're proud, generous, radiant. People assume your confidence shields you from doubt. But inside, there are nights when you stare at the ceiling, asking the same haunting question, when will my time finally come? That question burns, not because you lack faith in yourself, but because you know, deep in your bones, that you were born for more. And the cruelest part is watching others, often less talented, slip into positions that feel like they were meant for you. You've probably heard people say, just be patient, or, good things come to those who wait. But Leo, patience has been your shadow for too long. You've already waited, you've already paid in sweat, in effort, in dreams deferred. The truth is, what you're experiencing isn't failure, it's a pause before the breakthrough. It's like a lion pacing inside a cage, muscles coiled, energy building, knowing that the moment the gate opens, nothing will stand in its way. I want you to remember something important: frustration is not weakness. It's a signal, a divine alarm bell ringing to remind you that you are not built for mediocrity. Other signs may accept compromise, may settle into quiet corners of life, but not you. Your essence, your very soul, rejects smallness. That restless energy you feel isn't maladjustment, it's your higher self saying, this is not your throne. Keep searching, and I want you to know that you're not wrong for feeling that way. You are not too much, or too ambitious. You are exactly what you are supposed to be, a lion who knows that the crown belongs on their head, not gathering dust on someone else's. Think about the times you've kept going when everything told you to stop. Remember the sacrifices you made that no one else saw, the late nights studying, the projects you carried alone, the family responsibilities you shouldered while still chasing your own dreams. Those moments weren't wasted. They've been forging something inside you: strength, resilience, and a kind of quiet authority that can't be faked. You may not see it clearly yet, but you've been preparing for this season all along. And here's the turning point. Leo, that frustration you carry, it's not just pain, it's prophecy. Because every tear, every doubt, every invisible effort is being woven into a story that's about to unfold in ways you never expected. You're standing at the threshold of a chapter that will not only answer your questions but rewrite the way you see yourself forever. Part 2: Nostradamus, the man behind the mystery. Leo, before we step further into your story, I want to take you back almost 5 centuries, to the life of a man who somehow saw pieces of the future that we are living right now. His name was Michel de Nostradame, though history remembers him as Nostradamus. You've probably heard the name whispered in connection with grand events, wars, revolutions, natural disasters. For many, he was the strange doctor turned seer who wrote in riddles, wrapping truths in words that only time could unlock. But for you, Leo, there is something far more personal hidden in his writings, something that ties your struggles and your triumphs to prophecies inked long before you ever drew breath. When I first read about Nostradamus, I was fascinated not by his fame, but by his humanity. He wasn't born into privilege or wealth. He endured plagues that swept across Europe, losing family, losing stability, and yet he kept looking upward, literally, to the stars. He studied astrology, medicine, and history, blending them into a vision of time that stretched far beyond his own lifetime. People mocked him, questioned him, and yet centuries later, we still open his pages and shiver at the uncanny accuracy of his words. Doesn't that sound familiar, Leo? Someone misunderstood in their own time, but destined to be recognized later for the brilliance they carried all along. Now, imagine Nostradamus at his desk by candlelight, scratching quatrains into parchment, his words wrapped in mystery so they could survive the centuries. He wrote of kings and empires, but also of symbols, the lion, the sun, the cycles of awakening, and this is where your path intersects with his. He wasn't just describing global shifts, he was pointing toward individuals, souls whose journeys would mirror these cosmic movements. Among them, the lion, the archetype of Leo, burned brightly in his vision. It's easy to dismiss prophecy as fantasy, especially in today's world where skepticism rules. But let me ask you this, why do these words, written hundreds of years ago, still stir something in you? Why do they feel less like predictions and more like reminders? Maybe it's because, deep down, part of you recognizes the truth. Your story is not an accident. It's part of a pattern that began long before you. Nostradamus captured fragments of that pattern, leaving clues for those willing to see beyond the surface. And here's the beautiful irony. Leo, this man who lived half a world away, in a century we can hardly imagine, somehow saw you, not your name, not your face, but your essence, the lion pacing in frustration, waiting for the moment when the gates would finally open. He foresaw the rise, the recognition, the wealth, but also the inner transformation, the moment when the lion would no longer doubt its own majesty. So as we move forward, don't see Nostradamus as some distant figure in dusty history books. See him as a messenger who carried a lantern through time, leaving light for you to follow. The prophecy was never meant to frighten, it was meant to awaken. And tonight, it's doing just that. Part 3: Soul Memory and Leo's Royal Past. Leo, let's pause here and talk about something that might sound mysterious at first but is actually the thread running through your entire life: soul memory. You've probably felt it before in those quiet moments when you can't explain why you crave leadership, why you dislike being overlooked, or why you get restless in positions where you're expected to stay silent. That's not just ego, and it's not stubbornness. It's memory, deep, ancient memory of who you've been across lifetimes. Think about it. Some people are comfortable blending into the background, never asking for recognition, never yearning for the spotlight. But not you. From a young age, you've carried an awareness that there's something more waiting for you, almost as if you were born remembering a secret no one else around you knew. You may not have words for it, but you feel it, and that, Leo, is soul memory. Your sign has always been linked to royalty, to leaders, to figures who hold both power and responsibility. In past lives, maybe you were a ruler whose decisions shaped kingdoms. Maybe you were a warrior who commanded respect not through fear but through undeniable courage. Maybe you were an artist whose creations inspired generations. Whatever roles you carried, the common thread was majesty, influence, and the fire of the lion's heart. That's why in this life, when you're placed in situations that feel small or confining, you bristle. Your soul is saying, "This doesn't match who I truly am." And here's the beautiful part. That memory isn't there to torment you. It's there to guide you. It's the reason you can sense when you're settling for less than your potential. It's why you can walk into a room and instinctively know whether you're meant to lead or meant to leave. It's why your frustration with being undervalued feels unbearable, because your soul remembers the weight of crowns. The sound of armies listening for your command. The warmth of respect freely given. Of course, in this lifetime, the world is different. Leadership doesn't always mean sitting on a throne or wearing a crown. Today, it might mean starting your own business, speaking up in a meeting, inspiring your children, or leading a movement that changes your community. But the fire that drives it is the same fire that burned in your past. The memory is alive within you, urging you to step into roles that feel natural because they are natural. They're not fantasies, they're echoes of what you've already lived. So when you catch yourself doubting, when you hear that inner voice whisper, "Maybe I'm asking for too much," remember this. You're not asking for too much, you're asking for what your soul already knows belongs to you. Your royal past isn't a fairy tale, it's the foundation on which this new chapter is being built. Nostradamus saw it, the universe remembers it, and now, Leo, you're beginning to remember it too. Part 4: The 3 Phases of Leo's Journey. Leo, now that we've uncovered the roots of your soul memory, let's talk about the road you've walked in this lifetime. Every Leo I've ever known moves through 3 distinct phases, almost like chapters of the same epic story. And the truth is, you've already lived through the first 2. That means the third, the most powerful, the most rewarding, is right in front of you. The first phase is what I call unconscious preparation. Think back to the early years of your life, the jobs you took just to make ends meet. The classes you enrolled in without knowing why. The hobbies you explored and abandoned. At the time, it may have felt like wandering. You might have even questioned whether you were wasting your time. But Leo, nothing was wasted. Every skill you picked up, every struggle you endured, every challenge you stumbled through, it was all laying the groundwork. Like a lion cub learning to stalk, to leap, to roar, you were gathering the tools you would one day need to claim your place. The second phase is conscious frustration. This one you know well. It's that gnawing sense that you're capable of more but the doors just won't open. It's the years of putting in effort and watching recognition go to someone else. It's applying for opportunities, pitching ideas, showing up with heart and talent, only to hear, "Not this time," and it hurts, not just because you want success, but because deep down you know you're ready. You've seen flashes of your potential. You've felt moments when the spotlight almost turned your way before slipping aside. Those moments weren't failures, they were tests, sharpening your hunger and strengthening your resilience. They were reminders that you are not meant to settle for less, even when less is all that seems available. And now, Leo, comes the third phase, the phase of manifestation. This is where the story shifts. All those experiences, all those lessons, all that frustration, it begins to take shape. Like pieces of a puzzle finally locking into place. Suddenly, the job you hated turns out to have taught you the one skill you need for a new opportunity. The heartbreak you endured makes you wiser in your relationships. The setbacks you thought were detours reveal themselves as the exact training you needed to stand strong now. You begin to notice synchronicities, small signs that the universe is arranging something bigger. It's not imagination. It's not coincidence. It's your season of manifestation unfolding right before your eyes. If you've been wondering why things felt heavy, why you've carried this weight of waiting, it's because you were never meant to leap straight to the throne. You were meant to walk through these 3 phases so that when you sit in your rightful place, you'll have the strength, the wisdom, and the humility to hold it. And Leo, that throne, the one you've been dreaming of, isn't far off. You're stepping into it now. Part 5: The Lion Awakens. Prophecy Decoded. Leo, now that we've walked through the phases of your journey, it's time to talk about the moment you've been waiting for, the awakening. Nostradamus wrote of it in veiled language, but the meaning is clear when you see it through the eyes of a Leo's spirit. He spoke of a lion who would rise when it finally recognized its own majesty. And when that moment arrived, gold would float its paws like water. At first glance, it sounds poetic, but if you've ever had a sudden flash of confidence or clarity, you already know what it feels like when this prophecy stirs within you. The awakening isn't about money appearing overnight or crowns falling from the sky. It's about something deeper, an inner recognition that changes everything. The moment you stop chasing validation from others and finally see yourself as the universe has always seen you. It's that quiet but powerful shift when you realize you don't need to beg for a seat at the table. Because the table is incomplete without you. That shift is what ignites the prophecy. It transforms invisible effort into visible results, and private frustration into public recognition. I'll tell you what makes this moment so powerful. It's not something someone else can give you. No boss, no partner, no critic, no admirer can hand you this awakening. It begins inside, when you finally say, I know my worth, and I will no longer shrink to fit into spaces that cannot hold me. That declaration, spoken aloud or whispered only in your heart, is the spark that sets the prophecy ablaze. Think of the lion in the wild. It doesn't apologize for its roar. It doesn't lower its gaze to make others comfortable. It doesn't ask permission to hunt, to lead, to thrive. It simply remembers what it is and acts from that truth. That's what Nostradamus saw when he wrote of your awakening. Leo, a time when the lion within you would shake off years of doubt and stand. Not as a cub in chains, but as the sovereign force you were always meant to be. You may already be feeling the first tremors of this awakening. Maybe it's the way people have started listening a little more closely when you speak. Maybe it's the sudden burst of confidence you feel in situations that used to intimidate you. Maybe it's the quiet certainty that even though things don't look perfect yet, something big is shifting beneath the surface. Those are not accidents. They are signs that your soul is aligning with the prophecy. And here's the beautiful truth. Once the lion awakens, the world cannot look at it the same way again. Once you claim your majesty, opportunities, resources, and recognition will begin to flow toward you, not because you begged for them, but because they were always yours. You simply had to awaken to receive them. Part 6: Signs of Transformation already appearing. Leo, once the lion awakens, the universe doesn't stay silent. It begins sending signals, little nudges that whisper, pay attention, your moment is unfolding, and I know you've already felt some of these signs. They may have seemed strange at first, even random, but nothing about them is accidental. They are the breadcrumbs of destiny, guiding you step by step into the life you've been preparing for. Have you noticed repeating numbers appearing around you? Maybe you've glanced at the clock at exactly 11:11, or received a receipt totaling $88.88. At first, it can feel like coincidence, but numerology tells us these patterns carry meaning. 111 often signals alignment, a reminder that your thoughts and actions are syncing with the path meant for you. 888 is the number of abundance, the promise that material blessings are moving closer. When these numbers appear in your world, they're not random, they're confirmations that you are tuned in to the energy of your awakening. And then there are the dreams. Vivid, almost cinematic moments where you see yourself in positions of power, influence, or creativity. You might wake up and think, that was strange, but deep down you feel it wasn't just a dream, it was a glimpse. Dreams are one of the ways your subconscious prepares you for what's coming. If you've dreamed of holding a crown, standing on a stage, or being surrounded by light, that's not fantasy. That's your higher self showing you the life that's waiting on the other side of this transformation. You may have also experienced chance encounters, running into someone who casually mentions an opportunity, or reconnecting with a friend who has exactly the connection you've been needing. Sometimes it's a stranger's advice. Sometimes it's a simple phrase that sticks in your mind longer than it should. These aren't accidents, Leo. They're the universe rearranging the pieces of your life so that everything lines up at just the right moment. And let's not forget those sudden bursts of intuition, the inner voice telling you to take a chance on an idea, apply for a position, or invest in something that just feels right. That's your awakened lion speaking, guiding you with a wisdom that doesn't come from logic alone. How many times have you followed that feeling and later realized it was exactly the right move? That's not luck, it's prophecy in motion. The signs may start subtle, like whispers on the wind, but they grow louder the closer you move toward your breakthrough. If you've been noticing these moments, take heart, they are proof that the prophecy is alive in your life right now. And if you haven't noticed them yet, don't worry, the signs will come. All you need is the openness to see them and the courage to follow where they lead. Because Leo, when the universe starts to speak to you this way, it means your story is about to change forever. Part 7: Astrology meets Prophecy. Leo, by now you've seen how the universe sends signs, numbers, dreams, Coincidences that feel personal and mysterious. But let's go even deeper. Because these shifts aren't just random sparks. They're rooted in the movements of the planets themselves. The same cosmic dance Nostradamus studied centuries ago. Astrology and prophecy aren't separate, they're two languages describing the same truth. And right now, the skies are speaking directly to you. Think about where we stand, the year 2025. Astrologers call this a turning point. What many are naming the year of triumph. And for you, Leo, this year carries weight. The sun, your ruling planet, the very heart of your identity, is being amplified by powerful transits that push you toward visibility, leadership, and change. When the sun shines brighter, the lion can no longer stay in the shadows. Take Uranus in Taurus, for example. Uranus is the planet of sudden shifts, breakthroughs, and liberation. In Taurus, it shakes up the world of money, values, and security. What does that mean for you? It means financial doors that once seemed locked shut can swing open in surprising ways. It means your creativity, your talents, even your stubborn refusal to give up, all of it is being noticed by forces larger than yourself. Uranus doesn't ask politely, it disrupts. And right now, it's disrupting the old patterns that kept you small, replacing them with opportunities that align with your true worth. At the same time, Saturn is moving through Pisces, teaching lessons about boundaries, discipline, and emotional resilience. You've felt Saturn's weight before, it's the planet that makes you work for everything you get. But here's the gift, because you've already been tested. You're finally ready to use Saturn's discipline not as a burden but as a foundation. It's like building a stage sturdy enough to hold the full power of your performance. Without it, your success might collapse. With it, your success will stand for years to come. And then, of course, there are the eclipses. These are the wild cards of astrology. Moments when the universe accelerates change. Eclipses in 2025 are highlighting your axis of identity and purpose. Almost like cosmic spotlights pointed right at you. If you've been waiting for recognition, for a chance to be seen, this is the year when hiding is no longer an option. The lion must step into the light. So, Leo, when Nostradamus wrote of the lion awakening, he wasn't just speaking in riddles. He was pointing to moments like this, times when astrology and prophecy overlap so clearly that the message is undeniable. The stars are not against you. They are aligned for you, pushing you toward the life you were born to live. And that means the question isn't if you'll rise. It's how you'll rise, and whether you'll be ready to recognize the doors opening in front of you. Part 8: 3 Pathways of Abundance by Birth Date. Leo, one of the most fascinating things about your journey is how your path to abundance is shaped not only by your sign, but also by the exact window of time you were born. Every Leo carries the fire of the lion, but the way that fire lights up your destiny has its own unique rhythm depending on whether your birthday falls early, in the heart of the season, or toward the very end. Let's walk through each pathway together, because I want you to see yourself in this prophecy with absolute clarity. If you were born between July 23rd and August 1st, your abundance comes through recognition. You've probably felt overlooked more times than you can count. But here's the truth, you already carry the talent, the skill, the charisma. The only missing piece has been the acknowledgement of it. This group of Leos often has a natural stage presence. Whether that stage is a literal spotlight or simply a meeting room where people can't help but listen. Your financial and personal breakthrough will come when someone finally sees what you've been offering all along and gives it the platform it deserves. Imagine that idea you've been quietly nurturing suddenly going viral, or that work you've been doing behind the scenes finally catching the attention of someone in power. Recognition is the key that unlocks your abundance. If your birthday falls between August 2nd and August 12th, your abundance arrives through partnership. You are the Leos who thrive when your fire is paired with someone else's vision, resources, or determination. It doesn't always mean romantic partnership, though it can, but more often it shows up as a business alliance, a mentor stepping into your life, or a collaboration that multiplies your influence. You've carried the flame for so long, now the universe is ready to send you someone who adds oxygen, turning that flame into an unstoppable blaze. The financial opportunities that appear for you won't be solo victories, they'll be shared triumphs. Connections that amplify your reach and open doors you couldn't have forced open on your own. And for those of you born between August 13th and August 22nd, your wealth flows through creativity and innovation. You are the dreamers, the visionaries, the ones who see possibilities before anyone else does. Your breakthrough may come through an invention, a piece of art, or a fresh way of approaching a problem that others thought had no solution. The key for you isn't waiting for recognition or leaning on partnerships. It's creating something so uniquely yours that the world has no choice but to take notice. And when you do, the impact will be greater than you imagine. Because your creativity carries the power to ripple across industries, communities, even generations. So, Leo, whichever part of the season you were born into, your path is clear. Recognition, partnership, or creativity, each is a doorway. And each is opening now. And what unites all three is the same truth. Abundance comes when you step fully into your worth. When you stop waiting for permission. And when you dare to believe that what you've been building is ready to be seen. Part 9: Multidimensional Wealth, Beyond Money. Leo, now that we've looked at the different pathways of abundance by birth date, let's pause and talk about something even deeper. Because abundance isn't only about money. Yes, financial prosperity is important, it brings freedom, security, and dignity, but true wealth, the kind Nostradamus hinted at, stretches far beyond numbers in a bank account. It's multidimensional. And for you, Leo, this is where the prophecy becomes even more powerful. Think for a moment about the times in your life when you felt richest. Was it when you had a little extra cash? Or was it when you were surrounded by people who truly saw you? When laughter filled the room? When you felt purposeful and alive? Real wealth is layered. It's not just coins and contracts, it's experiences, relationships, purpose, and joy woven together into a life that feels full. One form of wealth is emotional abundance. You've carried heavy burdens, but you've also known moments of deep connection. That hug from a friend who refused to let you fall apart. The encouragement from someone who believed in you when you didn't believe in yourself, that's emotional wealth. And the prophecy says as you step into your power, those kinds of connections will multiply. You'll attract people who fill you, not drain you, because your own light will magnetize those who can meet you on your level. Another form is relational wealth. Leo, you are naturally generous. You give your energy, your time, your creativity to others, and too often, that generosity has been taken for granted. But the tide is shifting. As you rise, your relationships will shift too. Those who only wanted your light without offering their own will fall away. And in their place will come allies, supporters, and companions who help you expand. Relational wealth means building a circle where love, respect, and encouragement flow in both directions. Then there's spiritual wealth. That's the quiet peace of knowing you are where you're meant to be. That you're not fighting against the current anymore but moving with it. For you, this is the moment when soul memory aligns with your present reality. The lion no longer feels trapped in a cage but at home in its territory. This wealth doesn't show up on spreadsheets. But you feel it every morning when you wake up with gratitude instead of dread. And of course, we can't forget experiential wealth. The trips you've dreamed of taking. The art you've longed to create. The adventures you've postponed because you were too busy surviving. These experiences are part of your abundance. 2. They feed your soul in ways that money alone cannot. Leo, Nostradamus saw that your abundance would be layered. Rich in every sense of the word. Yes. There will be financial prosperity, but alongside it will come deeper love, stronger friendships, inner peace, and a sense of purpose that makes every day meaningful. That's multidimensional wealth. That's the life you're stepping into now. Part 10: The 3 Waves of Prosperity. Leo, now that we've talked about multidimensional wealth, let's get even more specific about how it arrives in your life. Abundance doesn't just flood in all at once like a tidal wave, it comes in stages. Like waves on the shore, each one bigger than the last, each one preparing you for the next. Nostradamus described this pattern, and when I look at your life, I can see how perfectly it fits. The first wave is the wave of relief. This is when the heaviness begins to lift. You may notice debts being paid off, unexpected opportunities easing your financial stress, or a steady paycheck that brings you peace of mind. It's that first deep breath after holding tension for too long. The relief doesn't mean you've arrived yet, but it clears the fog so you can finally see the horizon again. This is where hope starts to return, and you begin to believe that change is not just possible, it's happening. The second wave is the wave of stability. After relief comes consistency. Opportunities stop being one-time strokes of luck and start becoming patterns. Work becomes steadier, recognition becomes more frequent, and you feel a sense of balance returning. You're not scrambling for survival anymore, you're planning, building, saving, and seeing your efforts rewarded. For many Leos, this is the stage where they finally feel like they can stand tall without fear of everything collapsing beneath them. It's not just about money, it's about trust. Trusting yourself, trusting your path, and trusting that the ground beneath your feet is solid. And then comes the third wave, the wave of true prosperity. This is where you step fully into your power, where wealth, recognition, and purpose converge. Here, you're no longer asking, "Can I survive? Or can I sustain this?" Instead, you're asking, "How can I expand? How can I give back? How can I use what I've been given to leave a legacy?" This is the stage of freedom, the freedom to choose how you spend your time, the freedom to invest in your dreams, the freedom to inspire and uplift others. For Leo, this stage is especially important, because your light isn't meant to shine for you alone. It's meant to illuminate the path for others too. If you've ever wondered why life felt so heavy for so long, it's because you were preparing for these waves. You had to develop the wisdom to handle relief without becoming complacent, stability without becoming rigid, and prosperity without losing your generosity. Each wave tests your strength, but each one also lifts you higher. So, Leo, don't dismiss the small breakthroughs. That first unexpected blessing, that small step toward stability, it's not insignificant. It's the beginning of the waves. And once they start, there's no stopping them. Relief, stability, prosperity, the prophecy promises them all. Part 11: Preparing spiritually for prosperity. Leo, we've spoken about the three waves of prosperity: relief, stability, and true abundance. But let me share something vital. Prosperity is not only about what flows into your life. It's also about what you're prepared to hold. Imagine winning the lottery without ever learning how to manage money. It would slip through your fingers as quickly as it came. That's why your preparation is just as important as the prophecy itself. The universe doesn't give blessings to punish us. It gives them when we're finally ready to sustain them. So how do you prepare? The first step is inner clarity. Prosperity begins with knowing what truly matters to you. If you chase after wealth for the sake of proving others wrong, the victory will feel hollow. But if you define prosperity as freedom to spend more time with your family, or the ability to create, travel, or contribute to causes close to your heart, then the abundance that arrives will be deeply satisfying. Take a few quiet moments to ask yourself, what would prosperity allow me to do? The answer will guide your steps. The second step is gratitude. I know, it may sound cliché, but gratitude is one of the most powerful tools for aligning with abundance. When you pause to recognize what you already have, even in seasons of struggle, you send a signal to the universe: I am ready for more. Gratitude expands your capacity to receive, because it shifts your focus from lack to abundance. Something as simple as writing down 3 things you're thankful for each night can begin to transform your energy. The third step is discipline. Not the harsh kind, but the loving kind that says, I value myself enough to build consistency. Discipline is what allows you to honor the opportunities that show up. It's waking up 10 minutes earlier to journal, setting aside a small percentage of your income for savings, or committing to finish the project you've been postponing. Think of it as spiritual training, just as an athlete conditions their body before a championship. You're conditioning your spirit before the flood of abundance. And finally, the fourth step is trust. You've spent years pushing, striving, forcing things to happen, but spiritual preparation means learning to let go of control when necessary. To trust that the doors meant for you will open at the right time. Trust doesn't mean inaction, it means moving forward with faith instead of fear. It's reminding yourself that what is yours cannot be taken, and what isn't was never meant to last. Leo, when you combine clarity, gratitude, discipline, and trust, You create the foundation for prosperity that doesn't just arrive, it endures. Nostradamus saw the lion awakening. But he also saw the wisdom that would follow. And that wisdom begins here. In the quiet work of preparing your heart and spirit for what's about to come. Part 12: Dreams, Intuition, and Guidance from the Subconscious. Leo, now that we've talked about preparing your spirit for prosperity, let's turn to one of the most powerful guides you already carry within you, your subconscious. The truth is, your waking life isn't the only place where the prophecy unfolds. Often, it's in your dreams, in those sudden intuitive nudges, that the universe speaks the loudest. And if you've been paying attention, you may already have glimpses of what's coming. Think about your recent dreams. Have you seen yourself standing taller than usual, surrounded by light, or stepping into spaces of authority? Maybe you've dreamed of thrones, crowns, or even lions. These aren't random images, they're symbolic messages. Dreams are the language of the soul, showing you pieces of the future in a way your conscious mind can digest. Nostradamus himself spoke of the dream world as a bridge between prophecy and reality. And for Leos, that bridge is especially strong. I know you might wake up and brush it off, it was just a dream. But pause for a moment. Your subconscious is not just entertaining you while you sleep. It's rehearsing your future, preparing your mind and spirit for the stage you're about to walk onto. When you dream of abundance, of recognition, of leadership, your soul is whispering, "This is real, get ready." And it's not just dreams, it's intuition too. You know that sudden gut feeling you can't explain? The one that nudges you toward a decision even when logic says otherwise? That's not foolishness, that's guidance. How many times have you followed a hunch and discovered it was exactly the right move? Those moments aren't luck, they're the awakened lion inside you, steering you toward alignment with your destiny. Here's a simple way to tune in. Keep a dream and intuition journal. Each morning, write down anything you remember from your dreams, even if it feels small. Over time, patterns will appear, symbols, themes, even repeated messages, and when you feel a strong intuitive nudge during the day, jot it down too. Later, you'll start to see how these pieces connect, like clues in a puzzle that reveal the larger picture. Leo, I want you to see dreams and intuition not as distractions, but as sacred tools. They are part of your preparation. They help you trust yourself, recognize opportunities, and move forward with confidence. You don't need every detail right now, you just need to listen, to notice, and to trust. Because the more you honor your subconscious guidance, the more clearly the universe will speak to you. And when the great transformation fully arrives, you'll realize you've been practicing for it all along, even in your sleep. Part 13: Leo as a source of abundance for others. Leo, up until now we've focused on you, your struggles, your awakening, your prosperity. But here's the part of the prophecy that often gets overlooked. Your abundance isn't meant for you alone. The lion doesn't just feed itself, it protects and provides for its pride. And when you rise, those around you rise too. Nostradamus saw this clearly, that the awakened lion becomes not only a receiver of abundance but a source of it. A fountain that overflows into the lives of others. Think about it, you've already done this on smaller scales. Remember the time you encouraged a friend when they were ready to quit? Or when your confidence in a family member gave them the courage to take a leap? That's Leo energy. Your light naturally inspires others. The difference now is that as your prosperity grows, so does your reach. Your story of resilience and triumph will ripple outward, becoming a beacon for those still struggling in the dark. This doesn't mean you have to give away everything you earn or carry everyone on your back. What it means is that your energy, your example, your presence will naturally uplift. People will see you overcoming obstacles and think, if they can do it, maybe I can too. Your generosity, whether through mentorship, resources, or simply the way you show up, will create a ripple effect of abundance. That's why it's so important to prepare spiritually, as we spoke about earlier, because this influence is part of your destiny. I want you to imagine this, your child, a sibling, a friend, or even a stranger watching the way you handle your breakthrough. They see not arrogance, but gratitude, not greed, but generosity, not fear, but courage. That observation plants a seed in them, a belief that transformation is possible. That seed could change their entire life. And Leo, you will have planted it simply by being yourself, by embodying the prophecy. I know sometimes you've felt isolated, as if no one understood your struggles or saw your sacrifices. But what you may not realize is that people have always been watching you. Even in your hardest moments, you've inspired others without knowing it. The way you kept going after failure, the way you carried yourself with dignity even when overlooked, those things mattered. And now, as you step into your season of manifestation, that inspiration will grow even stronger. So don't think of your prosperity as selfish or shallow. Think of it as fuel. The more you prosper, the more you'll be able to ignite courage, generosity, and hope in others. Your rise is a collective victory, Leo, and that's exactly how the prophecy was written, not just for you to sit on a throne, but for you to light the way for everyone who dares to follow. Part 14: Gratitude, Humility, and the Final Transformation. Leo, if there's one lesson the universe insists on before it crowns you with abundance, it's this: prosperity without gratitude is fragile, and success without humility crumbles quickly. You've seen it before, people who finally got what they wanted only to lose themselves in pride or greed. That's not your destiny. Your transformation is not just about having more, it's about becoming more. Gratitude and humility are the anchors that make your wealth, financial, emotional, spiritual, last a lifetime. Think about the times when life felt scarce. Those moments when you were counting every dollar, every opportunity, every ounce of strength. Looking back, can you see how they shaped you? Scarcity taught you resilience. Disappointment taught you empathy. Rejection taught you patience. Each hardship was a teacher. And when the blessings begin to pour in, gratitude is what helps you remember those lessons instead of forgetting them. Humility doesn't mean dimming your light or pretending you're not powerful. For Leo, humility is about balance. It's knowing you are majestic but remembering that majesty is a gift meant to serve, not dominate. It's the quiet confidence of a lion who doesn't need to roar constantly to prove its strength. The jungle already knows. When you live from that place, people trust you, opportunities expand, and abundance flows with even greater force. So how do you practice gratitude and humility in everyday life? Start small. Speak words of thanks each morning, not just for what's coming but for what you already have. Write down the victories, big or small, and remind yourself of the journey that led you there. And when recognition or wealth comes your way, share it. Celebrate with those who stood beside you in the lean years. Acknowledge the people who supported you when the world overlooked you. Generosity isn't about emptying your pockets, it's about opening your heart. I want you to picture this: you've stepped into prosperity. And instead of standing above others, you stand among them. You're still you, the friend who listens, the parent who loves deeply, the leader who inspires. The difference is, now your light is brighter, and it spreads farther. Gratitude keeps you grounded in love, humility keeps you grounded in truth. And together, they ensure that your abundance doesn't just enrich your life, it enriches the lives of everyone touched by your presence. Nostradamus saw that your final transformation would not be marked by arrogance but by a radiant kind of joy. The kind that inspires without effort. He wrote of the lion who not only claimed its throne but uplifted its pride. That is your path, Leo. The more you rise, the more you serve, the more you prosper, the more you inspire. And in that balance, between majesty and humility, you become unstoppable. Part 15: Conclusion. The lion's throne awaits. Leo, we've walked together through the shadows of frustration, through the whispers of prophecy, through the signs and phases and waves that mark your journey. And now, as we stand at the close of this message, I want you to pause and feel something. The quiet but undeniable truth that your throne has been waiting for you all along. Every hardship, every delay, every tear of doubt was not a punishment, it was preparation. And now, the preparation is complete. Look back for a moment. The missed opportunities that once felt like failures? They were detours that kept you safe until the timing was right. The long seasons of being overlooked? They carved strength and humility into your spirit. The restless nights where you begged the universe for answers? They were the proof of your persistence. The sign that your fire refused to go out. Leo, you've already proven yourself worthy. Not by being flawless, but by refusing to give up. And now, the prophecy comes alive. Nostradamus saw the lion awakening. And that awakening is here. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now. You are stepping into a reality where recognition flows more naturally. Where opportunities meet you halfway. Where wealth is no longer a dream but a daily experience. But more than that, you are stepping into yourself. The real you, the one who doesn't apologize for shining. Who doesn't shrink to fit into places too small. Who doesn't wait for permission to lead. This is not just about you. Though, as your abundance expands, so does your influence. Your story of rising will become fuel for others. The way you carry your success, with gratitude, with humility, will inspire countless souls to believe that transformation is possible for them too. You will not only prosper, you will become proof that perseverance, faith, and authenticity can turn prophecy into reality. So what comes next? Pay attention to the signs. Listen to your dreams. Trust your intuition. Step into the partnerships, the recognition, or the creative spark that is calling you, because whichever pathway belongs to you, it is already opening. And as you step forward, do so with courage, because the universe does not place crowns on the heads of those who are timid. It crowns the ones who dare to claim them. Leo, your throne awaits, not as a distant possibility, not as a fantasy, but as a living, breathing reality that is drawing closer with every choice you make. You are not just entering a season of prosperity, you are entering a season of fulfillment, of alignment, of legacy. And when you look back, you will see that it was all worth it, every struggle, every delay, every test, because it brought you here, to this moment, where your majesty can no longer be ignored. The lion has awakened, the world is ready, and now, Leo, it's your turn to rise.